execution tonight, Jay.
We're gonna try, man.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. Sport all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. Whole sports all plays.
What up? What up? What is up, people? Have we had a roller coaster of up and down games, blown games, crazy games, just all kinds of stuff that, quite honestly, some of it I saw coming, some of it I did not see coming. I think millions of brackets have been busted. But before we get into all that craziness, I first want to say my hearts go out to John. His name was John Clayton, who died at 67. He's an NFL reporter for a very long period of time. And, we lost a great giant in the game of broadcasting and what it means to the game of football. And with that being said, we up our things. Logan Landers, how you doing, brother? Oh, Logan has left me. No, he's in my. Oh, no, here he is. Hold on, folks. Here's Logan.
I'm here, Jay. Gotta love the internet. Sometimes it can be your best friend. Sometimes it can be your worst enemy. As we've experienced many times here on the show. Probably the first time tonight, if I had to guess. But yeah, I heard your last bit there. Like you said, man, rest in peace, John Clayton. Heck of an insider for ESPN all those years. Remember that commercial, Jay, he had? I'm sure you've seen it on social media everywhere, where he was doing, it was a bit for SportsCenter, and they were saying, all right, thanks, John Clayton, for the report. And then you see him pull his hair down. He's got the long flowing hair like Jay used to have back in the 80s, rocking the Slayer t-shirt and blasting the music. That's probably one of the best commercials they've ever made, honestly. But I mean, just some of the stories, man. He would be up late at night, like 4 a.m, trying to get news reports, anything like that. Just a real hard worker and someone who I feel like kind of was underappreciated a little bit throughout his tenure and his time. A true workhorse, and will definitely be missed, especially he's a big Seahawks fan. He covered them for a lot of years, so definitely will be missed there.
Absolutely. And then we got fellow guest, Mr. Lennon Crisp, who does a lot of writing for ASAP, amongst other things. How are you doing, Mr. Crisp?
I'm doing good, man. How are you guys doing?
Man, I don't know about you, Logan, but it's raining cats and dogs down here in Savannah.
Hey, we got some of that yesterday, Jay. It rained all day here throughout the night. It looks getting a little dark again, so we might get some a little bit. Who knows? Mine moved up your way, though.
I'm in North Carolina, so I get it.
Hey, it might be coming near you then. It might be near your way. You ain't too far out.
I'll tell you one thing. Hey, I'll tell you one thing, man. Hey, we had to do some moving today, Logan, and I just barely beat the rain.
Yeah.
Like within, I would say 10 minutes, I beat the rain by 10 minutes moving stuff from one spot to another. So I got lucky, man. I got lucky, and it's been good to me.
Hey, that is all that matters.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's been crazy, but it's been good, man. So no complaints on my end, man. Hey, we got lots of sports to talk about today, Logan. Unfortunately, I missed a lot of the games. I was having to catch it on my phone.
Hey, it's all good. We can't watch all of them, man. There's a lot of craziness going on in March. But like I said, even though we weren't able to watch all of them, because who can? We're here to review it and give you the hard-hitting facts. Isn't that right, my friend?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Hey, listen, let's go ahead without further ado and get into our first topic, as everybody is wanting to talk about since it's currently going on, and that is March Madness 2022, baby. And lots and lots of things are going on. Let's start off talking Baylor. Baylor and North Carolina. What a hell of a game that was, man. They got down by 20-something, like I said, Logan, about 25-some-odd points.
Yeah.
And then Baylor came back, took them to overtime, only to lose it at the end by a few points. I mean, number one, Baylor should have never got down the way they got down. But I got to say, props off to Baylor for showing their grit and how they were able to come back and do what they did. But unfortunately, my hat goes off to North Carolina, and they pulled the upset and took the game. Logan, what's your thought process on the Baylor game?
It's weird looking at the score, Jay, because it was high scoring. It was 93-86. Those are like NBA scores. They almost hit 100, which you rarely ever see in college. The number one seed went down. North Carolina, they're ranked number 8. They were at 26-9 on the season, so a very strong record. That's just how the seeding goes. North Carolina as a team shot almost 50%, 49.1 from the field, 44% from the three-point line, and 70% from the free throw line. Big ups to RJ Davis, led the team with 30 points. Manic behind him with 26. Those were the two big guys getting after it in terms of points. Like I said, Baylor had a good fight, man. They had two guys with 20 points or more. That goes out to Flagler and Akinjo. They played almost 40 minutes apiece, so they were the workhorses for that team. Also, RJ Davis, I forgot to mention, played 45 minutes, Jay. So he better be taking a nice ice bath right about now. But I think the thing that really hurt Baylor is they shot poor from the field, 34% from the field goal, and then only 24% from three. And it wasn't just they shot 10 threes. Nah, they shot 9 of 37 from the three-point line.
Yeah.
So that's really, I think, what hurt them. I mean, when you look at everything else, like I said, assists, they didn't have hardly any. They only had 11 assists as a team. North Carolina doubled that with 22. In terms of rebounds, they got out-rebounded by about 9. So, I mean, North Carolina deserved to win this game. They played hard. They fought hard. I get they were blowing the lead at the end, and it did take them into overtime. But once you got into overtime, I mean, I think Baylor just ran out of gas. They were only able to score 6 points the entire quarter. And that was a wrap. But very good win for North Carolina. They got it figured out at the best time, knock off the number one seed.
Lennon, what were your thoughts on the Baylor game, baby? Did you see it coming? Did it blow your bracket?
It definitely did blow my bracket. Not that it already been blown because of Kentucky, but I'll say this. Baylor, I told them down like 25. I was like, this game's over. I was like, UNC's moving on. And all of a sudden, I looked up again, and they're like down like 5. I'm like, okay. I was like, this might be an interesting game. But it's kind of like what I said before we started recording. Atlanta Falcons, like, I hate to bring this up to you guys, but 25-point lead. You guys might need to take some notes on how to come back from this shit.
Absolutely. Like I said, it blew me back. It definitely busted my bracket. I mean, that's the one thing about college basketball, to be quite honest with you. I mean, there's so many upsets, there's so many swings in it that, to me, like I was telling my friend earlier, trying to bet on college basketball is ridiculous just because it's so unpredictable.
Yeah, you never know where it's going to happen. You really don't.
Yeah, that's what I love about March. But you can never know. Like, there could be like a 16-seed team that could take out a number one just like that, and all of a sudden, there goes a perfect bracket, like first thing.
Yeah, we see it every single year without failure. We honestly do.
Man, Dustin picked it. He picked North Carolina. He has said that North Carolina is coming in with quite a lot of momentum into this bracket series, and of course, it showed up well with Baylor. And he said, my bracket is all messed up. What the F? Anthony Price. Hey, you're not the only one, Anthony. You're not the only one, Bub. I'll tell you that. And then
about other millions of Americans here.
Everybody's back is to some level messed up, I'll tell you. But I have my Kansas going all the way. Hey, we'll see, man. Hey, Kansas is a tough team, so we'll have to wait and see how that plans out. But, hey, as this goes right now, let's talk about this Tennessee game, Tennessee-Michigan. I mean, how crazy is that? I'll tell you, man. Hey, listen, that was another one that blew my bracket. I had Tennessee beating Michigan. And I'll guarantee you, when I say, Dustin, did you have Tennessee winning this game? You know what Dustin's going to say to me? Because he's stat guy. And stat guy's going to say, no, Jay, no. Because I'm much more knowledgeable than that. And I absolutely, unequivocally had Michigan and Juwan Howard winning that. Right or wrong, stat guy? You tell me.
Well, you are wrong. So I did have Tennessee winning that game.
Okay.
There we go.
I had
Well,
Tennessee going to the Elite Eight. So I mean, they kind of decided to crap my bracket today. But I do have North Carolina in the Elite Eight. So North Carolina beating Baylor to me actually helped me out since I have North Carolina going another 2 rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Lennon, how did you have that one picked, Lennon? Who are you picking, Tennessee and Michigan?
I honestly had Tennessee just because of the way their defense has been the last couple of games. I thought they step up and just have a great game defensively and just be able to shut down Michigan. But Michigan surprised me. They're a good organization. I feel like they've filled out the roster pretty good. Pretty even team.
All I can say for Michigan is they better be fortunate to be in the NCAA tournament because, in my opinion, they never should have even gotten in the first place.
Honestly, like the way they played this whole season, like overall, they shouldn't have. But I feel like they made more the last, like maybe 5 games, something like that, like regular season.
Logan, how did you have Tennessee coming out today? Did you have Tennessee winning it? Logan, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Like I said, the internet's a little choppy with all this weather we got going on, Jay. But
no, I feel you. How did you have this game pairing out?
Man, I had Tennessee going deep, honestly, because like they said, their defense was top notch throughout the whole really regular season. I mean, they had them beat in the first half, but it don't matter in the first half. It's the second half that matters, and that's where Michigan pulled away. Dickinson, like I said, their big guy scored almost 30. He had a double-double, 27 and 11. I mean, that's what your big players do. They shot 50% from the field. So, I mean, usually when you do that much, you're going to win. They hit most of their free throws. They did good on the boards. So, I mean, they were just the better team today overall. And a big shout-outs to Juwan Howard for moving on. Yeah, but Tennessee really, they shot 11% from 3. So, like we did with the other game, right? The 3-point shooting is really what hurt Tennessee. And I get they only shot 18, but they were 2 of 18. So, I mean, if you can't hit your threes, man, it's going to be a tough game. And that's how it was for Tennessee.
Real quick, so there's a couple of games on right now. I just want to get y'all's predictions on who you think is going to win this. And we're just going to go right down the list. We're going to go Logan, and then we're going to go Stat Guy.
All right, what you got?
So right now we got St. Mary's, UCLA. UCLA, they're at halftime at 36-29. I actually picked St. Mary's to win this game. And because I'm just going with St. Mary's as the underdog, and they're currently down by 7. Logan, who do you have winning the St. Mary's UCLA game?
I'm looking at the score now. UCLA is up by about 6 or 7. I'm gonna stick with the Bruins winning this one out. I think they're gonna hold on to the lead.
Okay, Stat Guy, who do you got, Bubba?
I picked UCLA to beat St. Mary's originally. After watching how UCLA played against Akron, I was kind of regretting making that pick, but because I picked UCLA, I'm going to stick with them just because they look a lot better today than they did on Thursday.
And it doesn't hurt the fact that they're in the lead going in at halftime either.
That's true.
Hey, let's talk about Providence. Number 4 Providence versus number 12 Richmond. I actually had Providence in this one, and clearly right now it's 79-51.
Yeah, it's over.
Does anybody think that? Did anybody pick Richmond? Let's just do it this way. Raise your hand if you picked Richmond? Okay, so we're all in agreement that Providence is going to win this. So we won't talk too much because let's be honest, Richmond. All I can think of when I hear Richmond is Coach Carter. Rich what? Richmond. Rich what? That's all I hear in the back of my head. I hear Coach Carter going up against Providence, but it is what it is. And then we move on to let's talk about. We got 3 games right now, and then we'll pick back up with the Kansas and Creighton game. But right now we got 3 games coming up, and I want to see who is going to get the better prediction. And I'm even going to write this down. We got St. Peter's getting ready to take on Murray State in probably about 15 minutes. Who has Murray State? Show of hands. Anybody taking Murray State? So we got Dustin taking Murray State. Okay.
I like upsets. Jay.
Jay, you can write this down too. I got Murray State in the Final Four. because I actually had Murray.
I'm gonna write that down.
I had Murray State beating Kentucky today originally. So I obviously didn't pick St. Peter's to beat Kentucky, but I had Murray State beating Kentucky, and then I have them beating Texas and North Carolina to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, I'm definitely writing down Murray State in the Final Four. Logan, are you going to side with him? Are you taking Murray State over St. Peter's?
You know, Jay, I like upsets, but I don't like it today. I think Murray State's a little bit too strong for St. Peter's, and I think the storybook telling is going to be over for St. Peter's and the Peacocks. It is what it is, man.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. So you're going with Murray State as well.
Yep.
I picked Murray as well, so I did stay with that. And then we got New Mexico State versus Arkansas. Obviously, Arkansas is ranked 4. New Mexico State is ranked number 12. I don't see New Mexico State having a chance against this Arkansas Razorbacks team, so I picked Arkansas. Did anybody pick anything different? Oh, look at this! That guy with New Mexico. Why did you go with New Mexico?
Because I had New Mexico State beating UConn, and I also had Vermont beating Arkansas. And Vermont nearly did beat Arkansas. And New Mexico State, in my opinion, is a better team than what Vermont is, and I think they can give Arkansas some fits.
Okay. And then the last game we got for this evening is the late game on TBS, and that is number 9 Memphis going against number 1 Gonzaga. And do I think Gonzaga will pull a Baylor on me? Golly, man.
You never know.
Gonzaga's looking pretty damn good. I mean, they're
10-point favorites also.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not going to go against – not in this round. I don't think Memphis is going to be that good to pull that Cinderella upset. I got Zags taking that one. Does anybody – stat guy, did you take Memphis?
No, I at least have Gonzaga in the Elite Eight.
Yeah,
I can see that, and then you know what? I can also see you pulling the trifecta and getting all 3 of those games, and we're like, damn, okay, hell with it.
Yeah.
Logan, are you gonna go? Are you gonna follow my lead and stat guy's lead and pick Zaga over Memphis, or are you gonna be the odd man out?
Nah, I got the Zags. I think Timmy and Holmgren are gonna have good games, and I mean, they just look better on paper. I'm gonna trust them to get the win in this one and keep moving on.
Okay, and then lastly, before we get out of this March Madness recap or at least for this round today, we got the Creighton and Kansas game, which was actually pretty damn good. They gave it to Kansas, and Kansas took it. Obviously, Kansas came out 79-72. I did not have Creighton winning this. I had Kansas winning this game. But did anybody pick Creighton in their bracket?
I picked them in one of mine.
Oh, Dustin went down 1. But you know what? Hey, that's not a bad one because, hey, like I said, that was only a 7-point win by Kansas. So you were close on that one.
If you haven't learned anything about the NCAA tournament the last decade, is you can never trust Kansas or Kentucky. Ever.
That's true.
Well, that's true. And as a matter of fact, we're going to talk about Calipari here in a little bit and what that means. As a matter of fact, I think that's probably the next topic. We're going to talk about Calipari's future. Let me ask you a question. How far does anybody have Houston making their Final Four?
That's you. I think that's just you, buddy.
Who are they? No, I don't have Houston.
Sorry, man. You know what? I talked to some of my buddies today, and they didn't have Houston Final Four.
I guess in my defense, I had Houston losing to Chattanooga. So, I mean, with Chattanooga losing, I got Houston now in the Sweet 16 because my Sweet 16 team's out.
Wow. You know, I'm telling you, man, hey, people understand they're sleeping. People are sleeping on Houston, Logan. Like, they are taking long comatose naps on Houston. And I think Houston is going to surprise the ever-living dog crap out of a lot of people. They take on Illinois, number 4 Illinois, tomorrow at noon Eastern. I guess, are you going with Illinois on that game?
The Illini had a tough game the other night, right? They barely won. I don't know, Jay. I don't know. I might go with the upset in that one.
I'm just going to pick out a few of these games. I'm not going to go through all the games, but I'm going to pick out a few that I think are pretty interesting. I think the Houston-Illinois is just because, like I told you, I think Houston's going to make it to the Final Four, and I think people are sleeping on them. That's why I picked that game out.
Hey, that's fair.
Let's talk about Ohio State and Villanova. I think Villanova takes Ohio State. Does anybody have Ohio State winning that game?
No, I got Nova.
Yeah, stat guy, you got Ohio?
No, I had Loyola, but
wrong. This ain't what 2014 or whatever.
Hey, Loyola giving Ohio State fits the first 25, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Real quick, hey, we got Duke at Michigan State. Let me ask you this: does anybody here think that Coach K, his career ends on this game?
No.
I think Duke's going to win this game because I think they're going to fight hard for Coach K.
Yeah,
I think every game is his last game if he loses.
Yeah, Duke gets this one. Anthony Price says my whole East Side bracket is shot now. He's like shot and ran over and shot again. He ain't wrong.
Man, hey, listen, I get that.
He's got Kansas going all the way. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, hey, as long as you got Kansas still in there, then you have a damn good shot at, at least the East Final Four if they come out of the East.
True.
Hey, real quick. So we talked about Duke, Iowa State, Wisconsin. I don't think that's all that exciting of a game. I think Wisconsin will handle Iowa State. Does anybody have Iowa State beating Wisconsin?
I'll rock with the Badgers.
No, I almost went with Colgate over Wisconsin, but I corrected myself beforehand.
Go with Crest. It's a better toothpaste anyways.
And a lot of people have Texas Tech at a good shot to win the title. I'm not going to say I'm one of those people, but I've heard some rumors where they thought Texas Tech is just going to be this phenomenal team going into the Final Four. But I am going to take Texas Tech over Notre Dame. Notre Dame's got a good squad, but I do think Texas Tech will handle Notre Dame. Does anybody have Notre Dame over Tech?
No, I got Tech.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Aggies. Or I'm going to go with the Raiders.
All right, let's just finish this out. We only got 3 more games left. Anybody got we got Miami, Auburn. We got Miami at 10, Auburn at 2. There's no. I'm gonna go with Miami on this. I feel like I need to go with Miami over Auburn. I think Miami takes this game. Does anybody got Auburn winning it?
I have Auburn in the Final Four.
I got Tigers pulling.
Hey, I guess that answers it for Stat Guy. Got him in the Final Four. Logan.
Yeah, I got Auburn getting a W.
Okay. Hey, y'all are all on notice that I got Miami. So when they win that, I will definitely be finding you guys.
And I know you will.
Texas Purdue is going to be a hell of a good game. I mean, hell of a good game. And I think Texas takes out Purdue. I got Texas over Purdue. And he says I need St. Mary's to beat UCLA. Well, I picked St. Mary's, so we'll see how that works out. Anybody here got Purdue over Texas?
No, I got Texas.
Hook 'em horns.
That's right. Hook 'em horns, baby. Logan, what do you got, Bubba?
Texas. Hook 'em horns.
And then, hey, so our last game of the evening to talk about is TCU, Arizona. TCU clearly is about number 9. Arizona is obviously number 1. I have Arizona in my Final Four, so obviously I'm going with Arizona. Does anybody think TCU can pull off that major upset?
I have Arizona in the title game, so I'm with you on that, Jay.
Yeah, Wildcats are moving on.
Yeah, I cannot see TCU pulling off that upset, but I will say this. If TCU finds a way to stun the world and take out Arizona, hey, more power to them. I'll tell you, more power to them. I love good upsets. I really do. All right, folks. Now we're going to talk about, is it time for Coach Calipari to retire? And I'll tell you, after this first-round exit of Kentucky over St. Peter's, I mean, I don't think it's time for him to retire. I mean, he still has his team competing. Obviously, he's still making the March Madness tournament. So, I think it's really up to him whether or not he wants to retire. I think he's still a hell of a good coach. I don't think he necessarily needs to retire. I think they still give him some latitude. Is anybody here? Logan, what do you think about Coach Calipari? Is it time for him to retire?
I mean, I don't think so, but the fact that he'd have to apologize twice to the fans for this one loss is not a good look, let's be honest. Kentucky in recent years hasn't had the best success. The last time they made the Final Four was in 2015, so that's over 5 years ago. I mean, he has a lifetime contract with Kentucky, which is still crazy. But no, I don't think he'll retire. It's just a really it's a very unfortunate loss. We'll say that.
What about you, Dustin? How do you feel about it, Coach Calipari? Is it time for him to retire, or is he still good to go?
He's still good to go, but the one-and-done rule is starting to expose Calipari a little bit.
Yep.
When he was at Memphis, he was a much better coach than what he is now because he actually had to build a program and have players stay in that program for 4 years. Now it's you get the best players you can get, have them there for a year, and they leave, and he doesn't have that opportunity to build a chemistry with those programs. That's why the one and done rule has ruined a lot of these old school blue blood programs, just because they're not even around long enough to build a program.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I tell you, man, Calipari, I definitely think he stays around. But I do agree with you. If he keeps getting more of these one and dones, I think he's going to start being on the hot seat.
It's Kentucky, man. It's Kentucky. This is what they're known for: basketball success. And I mean, they haven't had the most success in recent years, so they got to really get back to winning ways. And like Stat Guy said, man, that one and done rule's really hurting them now. And I mean, there's not a lot of people that go, in recent memory. I can't think of all of them. But Kentucky hasn't had the greatest prospects go in the NBA as of late. There's for every one superstar, there's a bunch of them that don't really pan out. I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you got Tyler Hero, Karl Anthony Towns.
But do you think that's lack of development by Calipari?
No. It's just that you get players like that. They're used to playing AAU basketball before they even get to college, so they're playing college the same way they did the AAU circuit. They don't go there. The thing with the one and done rule, which I hate, is the kids that are going there aren't even going to class. And you can ask athletic directors, you can ask coaches and everything. They give these kids the easiest schedule possible, knowing that they're strictly there for 1 year and then they're gone. So what's the point of you giving out a scholarship to these kids if they're not even going to show up to class?
Well, that's true. That's absolutely true. So I agree with you. And that's a shame too, man, because you get all this free money, man. Why not? They should be taking advantage of it. But yeah, I mean,
money or what do you mean by
their eyes are so heavily set on the NBA or what have you that I think they just forget about college.
Right.
So they really don't follow college basketball 100%. The winner of the tournament, do the schools get money or school rights? I think the school itself gets money, don't they? Isn't there like a reward? They got to get something out of that, right?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure how much, but I'm sure it's pretty penny.
Hey, real quick question. I know we got the NIL now where, athletes can now get paid. That means even basketball too. Like basketball players can get endorsements as well, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, the winning team of the tournament actually technically doesn't get money.
Wow. So they just get the bragging rights and the trophy.
Well, so basically, on average, the NCAA annually produces roughly $700 million through March Madness. Whether it's ticket sales, merchandise, and everything, they typically make $700 million. The NCAA itself keeps 40% of that, and then the other 60% is divvied out to the 68 teams in the field. So all 68 teams get the same amount of revenue out of that 60% that they're sharing.
It says Towns, Hero, Booker. Who's SGA?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
There you go. And Fox. Darren Fox.
How do you spell that, Jay? I'm curious. How do you spell Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
SHAIGEOGORS and then Alexander.
There you go.
Nothing amazes me anymore with him. Honestly, honestly, nothing. This guy. The only thing that surprised me about Stat Guy is if he passed away and then resurrected himself and came back as a robot.
Maybe it's already in the making, Jay. Maybe he's already.
Man, listen. That is no joke. Hey, moving on though. Let's talk about Major League Baseball free agency. Man, there have been some moves in MLB. Let's talk about Carlos Correa and his big contract, his $35 million a year contract that he signed with the Minnesota Twins.
I know that hurt you, Jay.
Man, it did. Listen, it did because Houston can only afford about $18 million, given their cap. They only have about $8. I mean, they couldn't make a run at this guy.
Right.
They really just could not. They didn't have the cap space to do it. And I hate to lose him because he's a hell of a good defensive player. I mean, he just got the Gold Glove. He's probably one of the best shortstops in the league. That's really hard to counteract, when you're that good defensively. And he had a pretty solid bat. I think he was batting about 288, and we lose that. So yeah, hey, good for him. I'm glad he got paid the money I guess he was looking for. But man, what a blow to the Astros organization or lineup, losing a guy like him. And then we switch over to Logan. Logan, how do you feel about Correa?
I mean, it broke at 2 a.m. when everyone was asleep except for me because I was just bored. And I was like, holy crap. Well, and then it made sense because they got rid of Simmons a couple of days ago, and I was like, well, who they're going to get for this shortstop? And then lo and behold, here comes Carlos Correa out of nowhere, signing with the Twins, who I'm sure no one thought of. And a couple days ago, the Yankees took out all that money, and that opened up their wallets to pay Correa for a couple of seasons. So we'll see how much he can add to Minnesota, because they had a down year last year. We'll see if they can pick it up this year in the Central.
So Anthony Price wants to know if Dustin's going to go to ESPN. He said, "Hey, have you ever applied to ESPN?" Hey, that might not be a bad idea, Dustin. That might be in your future.
No college degree. They won't take me.
Oh, who needs college anyways?
Yeah, hey, listen, let's be honest, man. What's his name? Stephen A's degree is in fashion design, so don't get the hell out of that craziness. But Stephen A is Stephen A.
Never give up on
guess.
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So Correa, hey, how good of a move was that for the Twins organization, stat guy?
I don't think it's a good move for the Twins, but I think it's a better move for Correa. Because
it's definitely a better move for Correa.
So now he's not tied into a long 12, 13-year deal. And he's going to a franchise that doesn't have expectations. He's going to a home run hitter's park where if he goes and has 2 or 3 massive years, he can hit the market again and sign for more money than what he would have gotten on the market this year. And that's why I think it's a bad deal for the Twins, because they're not going to have him. They'll be lucky to get him 3 years. I could see them having him 2 years, but I don't see them getting him 3 years. But they're not going to be able to re-sign him once his 3 years is up. So what's the point of having him right now? It's basically just a long-term rental at this point to sell tickets. Hope that you can be competitive in this 3-year window. But as soon as he gets to that end of the contract, he's going to jump ship and sign somewhere else, and he will get more money the second time around because he's going to show that he can hit outside of Houston.
Absolutely. And let's be honest, he signed a 3-year, $105 million contract, but he can opt out after the first 2 years. So I think you're right. I think he does 2 years. I think he opts out in the third and then tries to get the bigger contract.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, good for you, Carlos. Good for you.
I can honestly see him opting out after year 1, depending on what the shorts.
Well, I don't think he can do it. I don't think his contract will let him do that. He has to do at least the first 2 years.
No, he can opt out. No, he can opt out after year 1.
Well, in the article I read about it, though, it said he couldn't opt out until after the first 2 seasons, which will put him opting out in the third season.
I think it said he can opt out after the first 2, after each season.
I didn't read it like that. To me, I read first 2.
I'll look it up for you quick.
Okay, and then hey, let's talk about Freeman and Atlanta Braves. Man, listen, Logan, I know that hits you pretty hard, man, because, Freddie Freeman was the face of your franchise for about 12 years. But like Freeman said, they just were not – they checked it with him twice. They checked to see how he was doing right before the lockout, and then they checked again on him to see how he was doing after the lockout, and that was pretty much it. Whereas the Dodgers were basically calling him and blowing his phone up like every day.
Here you go, Jay. While the contract for Carlos Correa is smaller in length, it's still similar in value to what he was looking for. It has opt-outs after each of the first 2 years, allowing him to re-enter the market as soon as next season.
Yeah, so it might be a one-and-done deal.
Like I said, it's basically they're paying, instead of trading for a rental, they're basically paying $35 million for a rental.
But it makes no difference. Why are you paying for a rental when your team isn't really gonna go anywhere? Why are you paying all that money?
It's not like the Twins are world beaters, right? I mean, they still need some work.
They need a lot of work, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know why you're renting a guy. Well, it is. Hey, there's smarter people out there in the baseball world than I am, but that's crazy. Let's talk about Freeman though. He got a 6-year, $162 million deal. So obviously he's going back home. He's a California guy. So he goes back home. He gets paid the money he's looking for. His grandpa, his dad, his uncles, whoever is alive will be able to go see him play baseball. Logan, how you feel about it?
Hey, man, I mean, like you said, there's just I think I'm not going to blame the Braves. I'm not going to blame Freeman. There's a lack of communication on both sides of this. Obviously Freddie was the free agent in question, and the Braves were about a week away from spring training starting, and they didn't have a first baseman under contract. So whether it was the agent for Freddie not giving the Braves what he wants or whatnot, it said that I think he wanted that 6 years. Braves wanting to give him 5, and they just really couldn't get it together. I mean, the longer it dragged out, I felt the more that he was going to leave. And overall, I mean, I felt like the Braves made a very good acquisition getting Matt Olson. You know, I get they gave up prospects.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're prospects, but I mean, arguably you had a guy who had a better season last year and someone who's a lot younger, and you already signed to, I think, an 8-year extension. So while you might have lost, like you said, the face of your franchise the last 10 plus years, you're getting someone to replace him for the next 8 plus. So, I mean, I feel like the Braves made a good move. I feel like the Dodgers, they have Gavin Lux, who's just kind of chilling there now as their, their backup first baseman, DH, whatever it's going to be. And Freeman got a ton of money to go back home. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, I mean, I feel like it's a good move for both sides. I feel like, obviously, the Dodgers trying to get in their championship. The Braves are also trying to get in their championship. So, that puts the Dodgers, I think, 4 former MVPs on their squad now in the rotation. So that's horrifying. And for the Braves, like I said, they got Olson, who's been really good his whole career for Oakland. Now he's going to go to Truist out there in Atlanta, see what he can do.
Absolutely, Stagger. How you feel about Braves? The Atlanta Dodgers bringing on Freeman? Was that a good deal for them?
Am I allowed to cuss on this show or no?
Just no F-bombs and you're fine.
Fine, bleep the Dodgers.
There you go.
I mean, the rich get richer because, like, the Dodgers needed another 35 homer, 100 RBI bat in their lineup. Well, we'll just go do that anyways. But I don't know if Logan saw some of these reports, and I don't know how accurate they are. But Freddie Freeman said he was blindsided, which means he actually told the Braves that he would take less money than what the Dodgers offered him to stay in Atlanta. So the fact that he told them that, and yet they still made the deal for Matt Olson, kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit. Because I actually love Freddie Freeman. I know Matt Olson is younger, but if he's telling the Braves that he would take less money to stay in Atlanta, and yet they still didn't give him anything, that kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me.
No, I get what you're saying. Listen, I don't like the Dodgers anything more than I like the Yankees, man. They spend a lot of money to get all the top brand talent, and it just is what it is, man. Otherwise, smaller market teams like us, man, like the Houston Astros, we're about a mid. We're not smaller market. We're about mid market. The Houston Astros are about mid market team, but we pretty much built to the draft, not so much in free agency. That's pretty much how Houston does it, but. Hey, more power to Freeman. Good job, man. You got your money, and you're going to be back home. Let's talk about Castellanos, who joins the Phillies on a 5-year, $100 million deal from the Reds. Bryce Harper is excited about it. He likes that middle order of the middle of the order bat coming to his team, and he thinks he's going to fit in quite nicely with the Phillies. Logan, your thoughts on Castellanos?
I mean, he was one of the there's a few good free agents left. He was one of the top ones. He, really good power hitter for Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going through a fire sale. They're getting rid of everybody. So, I mean, this is no surprise here. NL East is, looking good this year with all those teams. The Braves made some acquisitions, the Phillies, the Nationals. We're not even going to speak about the Marlins because they're just kind of there. But I mean, yeah, he got paid, and he's going to look good, man. I think he's going to do good for the Phillies. And like you said, him and Harper are going to be a really good duo if they hit the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think that was all the free agent signings I had in my mind. Was there any other free agents you guys want to talk about?
Well, what Logan was just saying.
Yeah.
Look at the lineup that Philly's going to have now. Gene Segura is going to be your leadoff hitter. Yeah. JT Realmuto is going to be your number 2. Schwarber's going to be your 3. Harper's going to be your 4. Castellanos is going to be your 5, and Rhys Hoskins is going to be your 6. Yeah,
it's going to be potent.
That is a lineup that with those 6 guys can hit 300 home runs almost with just those 6.
As long as they're pitching and defense, because that was some of the stuff they had to work on last year. As long as they can get that ready, I think they'll be scary this year.
And the thing with Castellanos too, he actually took a bit of a pay cut because he was making $25 million with the Reds. He's making $20 million now. If you look at some of the payrolls in baseball right now, the Pittsburgh Pirates' entire team payroll is $21 million.
That is
Nick Castellanos literally just signed for what the entire payroll in Pittsburgh is.
That's a problem, Jay. We'll save this for another topic. We'll save that for Tuesday, Jay.
That sounds good to me.
How the Pirates are destroying baseball.
Well, it's not only the Pirates. You have the Orioles who are at $24 million.
Yeah.
Cleveland's at $35. Oakland's at $38. And then the Marlins, who are always considered one of the lowest payroll teams in baseball, are at 70.
Yeah.
So how are the
That's
Marlins
ridiculous.
double what Oakland is?
It's just owners being super. I mean, with Oakland, because I follow them pretty good. Every 2 to 3 years, they get rid of their. I mean, they're doing it now, but they get guys like Chapman, like Olsen, like Manea, whoever else they're going to get rid of now. And once they get some trade value, they get them out, they ship them out, get some prospects for the cheap, and rinse and repeat. And I mean, same with the Orioles. They had success. About 5+ years ago, back in the mid 2010s. The Pirates. It's been close, probably 10 years now. Back in the early,
not quite. It's been 7. 2015 was
2015. Okay, yeah. So yeah, and then like I said, and then Cleveland. I mean, they were in the World Series a couple of years ago.
They were still relevant up until 2020. They made the playoffs up until 2019.
Yeah, we'll see what the Guardians can do now. Let's not forget that.
They're the Indians. They're the Indians. I don't care what anyone says.
Also, hey, quick game update. Hey, we got UCLA at 54 and St. Mary's at 47. So pretty good with about 8:15 left in the second quarter or second half. So they're playing them good, man. It's going to be another. I think it's going to be another down to the wire type finish unless UCLA just blows them out.
Yeah, we'll see. Also, Jay, I'm just going to mention a few other smaller
go ahead.
free agents on here. Michael Pineda signed with the Tigers. He's been bounced around for a while. Drew Smiley signed with the Cubs. Let's see here. The Braves got Kenley Jansen from the Dodgers in just a bit of spite, I would think.
Yep.
Who's going to be their new closer there, already said. And the Padres traded for Luke Voigt, the 2020 home run leader in, I don't know if it was all of baseball or if just the AL, but they traded for him for some single-A prospect no one's ever heard of before.
And then you can't forget the Cubs making Seiya Suzuki the highest paid Japanese player ever.
And him. There you go.
Yeah, that's interesting. That last signing really kind of, I was like,
we'll see what Suzuki can do. And then Damian said the Phillies like the Sixers with Harden. No one is scared of them when the playoffs come around. Ouch.
That's a pretty harsh comment.
That's pretty harsh. I will say that.
What you said about Suzuki, though, there's something that not a lot of people know about Suzuki, and I've followed him before because obviously during the COVID here, the KBO and everything was still going on, so we got to watch some of the baseball over there. Mm-hmm. Suzuki can hit 97. Yeah. And he used to pitch. So if you're going to sign a guy for what they paid, are they going to try to turn him into a Shohei 2.0?
I think he'll be the Walmart version of Shohei Ohtani.
It'll be the knockoff version.
You get the Dr. Thunder. You get the Dr. Thunder version.
Hey, Dr. Thunder's very valuable. If he's a valuable asset, I don't care.
There you go.
Hey. And then we go on and we look at potential first-round pick David Ajabo, who suffers a torn ACL at his pro day. Man, talk about just bad luck. This guy was a projected number 1 linebacker in the draft. He finished last season with 11 sacks, 12 tackles for losses, and torn ACL just takes him out of the game. They say he's going to miss a few weeks of the 2022 season. That's when he'll be back. So he'll be out roughly about 6 months. They compared it to about the same timeline as Cam Akers when he tore his ACL. And I mean, I guess the big question, guys, is this. How far down is he going to slip now that he from the potential number 1 linebacker spot? How far does he slip with this torn ACL? Logan?
You mean Achilles, right?
Yeah, Achilles.
I wrote down ACL. Was it his Achilles?
Yeah, it's his Achilles.
I'm sorry. I wrote down ACL for some reason. Okay, so Achilles is a – are you sure? I'm pretty sure. I thought that was ACL. Okay. No, well, anyway.
They said Achilles this morning because I thought it was ACL when I watched it too.
Okay, so so what are we looking, guys? How far does he slide down from the number 1 linebacking spot?
He's going to drop a decent amount, I would think, just because, like you mentioned, he's going to be out for so long. It's going to be, you take that risk of wasting or taking a first-round draft pick with someone who's not even going to be playing for a couple of months. And I mean, I like David. I've covered him. I've done videos on him before. Dude's a stud. I like him coming out of Michigan. And I think he's going to drop a little bit. I don't know if he's going to drop out of the first round completely. I'm not too sure. I feel like maybe one of the later teams, right? Like the Rams, the Buccaneers, whoever's in the very end of that first round might pick him up. and someone who can afford for him to waste some time. You know what I mean? As
Right.
opposed to when he was probably going to get drafted early on, and someone who could start right away. I feel like he could slip to the latter half of the first round, and for a team who doesn't need him at the current moment, but could definitely slide him in later in the season if they need him, and then really kind of get his career going into the second half of the season, and then really in 2023. But I think he's going to slide. Maybe I'm not going to give a number, but I think past number 15 maybe, because if you're in front of that, you need someone who can help you currently, not in 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, and especially because I think, like I said, they said he'll be ready for about after the first 2 weeks of the season. But still, that's a lot of time that you
still need to get NFL ready, though. You still need to,
Yeah, exactly.
You get on the field, practice, learn your plays, teammate, all that stuff.
Oh, and absolutely.
You're not going to get that immediately coming back from a torn Achilles, which, I mean, that could pop off again. You never know.
Man, that Achilles is no joke.
That was a rough injury, too. That was a rough injury.
Stat guy, your opinion, brother.
So the fact that they're saying he's going to be back in 6 months leads me to believe that it's not torn as bad as it would be, because usually if you tear your Achilles, you're out 12 to 14 months. So the fact that they're even giving him a 6-month recovery time leads me to believe it's torn, but maybe not as severely torn as
a partial tear instead of a complete tear?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't think he's going to fall at all. And the only reason why I say that is I compare it similar to the Tua situation when Tua came into the draft. You never knew when you were going to get Tua because of his hip injury.
Right.
Because everyone said he was going to miss a minimum of 8 to 10 weeks with that hip, and he still went in the top 10. I don't think he falls at all, because knowing that he'll be back in 6 months, and if you want to put him on the PUP list for the first half of the season, you can do that. And then you'll have him ready after week 8, and then you can use him. That's why I don't think he falls as far as a lot of people think he will, just because teams know it's not as severely torn as they originally said it was, because otherwise the timetable would be a lot longer.
Right. No, I definitely agree with you.
Anthony said, did David work out in the combine? If not, wow, no combine and no pro day. No, he worked at
He heard it at the pro day.
Yeah, I don't think he did the combine. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think he just did the combine,
but I know he heard it at the pro day.
At the combine, I think he just did like the bench press and some of like the drills that nobody really cares about.
I'm about to say the combine's blown out of proportion anyways, but yeah, I heard it pro day, non-contact injury, I believe, and we'll see where he goes in the draft. In about a month, a little bit over a month.
Anthony Price said he's mad because his mom. He said he's mad because his mom put him in football.
She should have put you in either baseball or soccer. That's where the money's at nowadays for players.
Man, hey, listen, who are you lying? I mean, that's true though. Ooh. All right, folks, we were going to continue to move this show right along, and we are going to go to our next topic. Watson to the Browns on $230 million deal. Where does Baker land? And let me tell you something, man. Watson, as Casario said, he feels like Watson now has clarity of mind to move on with the Browns and start afresh. And he feels the same thing for the Houston Texans organization, that they're going to get their clarity and they can move on fresh. And they believe Davis Mills is their guy until otherwise. I think Baker, if I'm being honest, I would like to see where I think he possibly could land would be with Pittsburgh. I still think he would be great with Pittsburgh or possibly even Seattle. Even possibly Seattle.
With Trubisky in Pittsburgh, I don't see him ending up there.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah, you're right. I forgot.
I don't trust Trubisky in Pittsburgh anyways, but, I mean, they signed him anyways to a decent amount of money, so it is what it is.
Logan, where do you think Baker winds up?
Well, for our boy Gonzo, he'd want to go to the Colts. They ain't got a quarterback. I mean, they could trade someone for him. Like you mentioned, the Seahawks. I don't know what the Seahawks are going to do. I mean,
I know what they're going to do.
They're going to go fire sale mode.
They're just going to stick with Drew Lock for 1 year. Not really tank, but put him out there and try to get a top 10 pick, and then go after one of the good quarterbacks coming out next year.
I'm looking here. There's a thing on Bleacher Report. The Colts have 8 picks in this upcoming draft, none in the first round. But I mean, you could couple a couple of those together and trade them for Baker. I think maybe a player. I'm not sure. I think the Colts probably be the best solution, honestly, for Baker to go to.
Let me ask you, if that's true, if Seattle decides to stick with Drew Lock and ride it out for a year and hopefully maybe get something in next year's draft, if you're Tyler Lockett, Do you think, hey, I'm out of here, guys? This isn't exactly what I want to be a part of now.
I think the smoke's coming, Jay. It ain't looking too good for Seattle.
I don't just because of the draft picks that they got from Denver. Because you can
You
build
that
that roster up in a hurry with how many draft picks they got from Denver.
That is true. They got a ton of them.
So you think Tyler Lockett stays and he's happy and content, and they move?
I don't think he's happy.
He'll live with it.
I think he's content because I think he wants to see what Seattle does with those draft picks too, to see like where they put him and like what they use to restructure that whole team.
Also, TJ, Jesus Christ, Watson got paid $230 million. That is a ton of money.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I mean, hey, listen, he's got plenty of money to pay off those 22 people in their lawsuits and still have a boatload of cash left over.
Yeah, I'm about to say the Browns are kind of shot themselves in the foot. Because I texted you the other day that, it came out the other day that the Browns are looking for an adult at quarterback, and then they sign, someone who just got off these 22 accusations. Well, still in them civilly, but not criminally, So I feel like they regret coming out with that statement. Just a little bit, don't you think?
And then Damien says they're not going to trade him because they just got rid of Keenum and they need a backup. Baker ain't going to go be a backup. That ain't going to happen.
And you can't have a backup there who's not happy.
No, he's going to be exactly. Baker, I know he had a bad year, but Baker should be a starter somewhere this year.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think if they were to say, hey, Baker, you're going to be a backup, I think Baker doesn't show up to camp, and I think he protests.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
And to answer who put that comment up there, Damien?
Yeah.
The Browns did just bring in Jacoby Brissett as a backup.
Jacoby. I haven't heard that name in a minute.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's been a while since we talked about Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I'm about to say so. There's 4 teams, Jay. I just found a random article that need a quarterback still potentially. We already mentioned the Colts and the Seahawks. They have listed here the Saints and the Panthers. I feel like the Saints are probably going to stick it out with Winston at this point.
I think they do too. I can see maybe the Panthers doing it, but not the Saints.
I don't know with the Panthers, man, because they just got Darnold. I mean, I don't know if you stick out with him for another season since they just signed him, but I don't know. I'm leaning towards more the Colts as the best situation, honestly, for him to go to. I think.
Man, I think if I'm the Panthers and if I'm Panthers and Darnold, I'm looking to either cut him, try to save cap space,
much
or
of a
buy him
trade
out
for
or
him
something.
Maybe you can get maybe a 6th rounder for him. You're not getting much for Sam Darnold anymore.
Yeah,
exactly. I think you're better off just cutting him and paying him whatever you got to pay him and move on from it.
All right, let's keep it moving, brother. What's up next?
All right,
I think that Mayfield is going to end up on a State Farm commercial, not doing anything for a while.
State Farm commercial.
But what Logan just said too.
I'll be back, Jay.
It would make sense for him to go to Houston because he's from Austin, Texas. So I'm surprised he wasn't packaged in the trade deal to begin with, and kind of use that as the kicker, where it's basically Watson and Mayfield, and then the picks that Houston gave them. But what is one thing that the Cleveland Browns need right now, Jay, that they don't have?
Well, they got a number 1. They got a running back. So offensive line?
No, they got that.
They need to receive. Well,
they need a number 2. They need a number 2 because they lost both Beckham and Landry. They replaced Beckham with Cooper. We know that the Saints have a salary cap problem, right?
Exactly.
Why not trade
maybe like a Michael Thomas?
Why not trade Mayfield to the Saints for either Thomas or Callaway?
I think the Saints have about, last I looked, maybe $30 million to blow right now because they did get rid of a lot of pieces.
Yeah, they could easily trade Mayfield for Callaway or Mayfield for Thomas, and that gives the Browns their number 2.
I know Damien said Mayfield to the Titans are sticking out with Tannehill. They're not getting rid of him.
Especially after the Titans just traded for Robert Woods.
That's true.
That guy goes on, or he asked that guy, what is a date for the Browns to trade Baker?
Let's see. Currently, it's March 19th.
Yeah, March 19th, or then the June 1st, because then that's that dead money hit that goes away.
Yeah, I'm about to say, like you said, the Browns have Cooper. We'll see what Cooper can do, man. He needs to kind of show, I think, for the Browns, see if he is that elite receiver that everyone's been trying to say for years now. Jay, I know you saw it, I saw it, so we'll see.
No, absolutely. And then we move on to Juju to the Chiefs wide receiving core. Look, here's the deal. He signed a 1-year, $10.75 million contract. So now they're going to have Hardman, Kelsey, Hill, Juju, and still on the board, Josh Gordon. That's going to be their receiver lineups. Juju's coming off a shoulder injury that he had and suffered in Week 5 against Denver. Finished out that particular season, which was last year, at 15 catches at 129 yards, but he only played 5 games. He's in his 5th season. He's got right at a little over 3,800 yards, 26 touchdowns, 323 catches. So it's been a little pedestrian for him in the 5 seasons he's been with the Steelers. As a matter of fact, 2018 was his best season at 111 grabs at 14.26. How well do we expect Juju to fit into this lineup with the Chiefs and going forward, Logan?
I mean, like you say, he signed a 1-year deal. This is a proving deal for him to see if he can get that next big contract or if he's just going to kind of bounce around. Like you mentioned, 2018 was his last really productive year. Like you mentioned, over 1,000 yards, couple of a good bit of touchdowns, all that good stuff. But what happened after 2018, Jay? Oh yeah, Ola Antonio Brown decided to up and leave town.
Yeah,
and then Juju dropped off like a bad habit. His next best year was around 800 yards receiving. That was in 2020. He's still young, right? He's only 25, going to be 26. He did have the most touchdowns in his career in 2020 with 9. So I mean, he's good, but I'm more worried about off the field. Him and Patrick Mahomes' brother Jackson are going to cause me to get headaches each and every Sunday on TikTok. I'm going to see it, and I'm not going to like it. And it's going to be a pain in my existence, Jay. So just get ready for that. And I mean, I think he'll do fine for the Chiefs. It's like I said, it's another weapon to go to. I'm sure. I think his numbers would. I don't know if they're going to go down or go up, just kind of depending, because he'll be that number 3 or whatever receiver now, because you got Hill, you got Kelsey, and then it'd probably be him and then Hardman.
Right.
Give or take, right? So I feel like his numbers aren't going to be that, 1,500 yards, whatever, however many catches and touchdowns, whatever. But I feel like he'll do decent. I don't feel like he's just going to have just drop off face of the earth. But I mean, I like the move. It's another weapon for the Chiefs, man, and they need to make something after all the moves the AFC West making this year.
I agree with you. Stat guy, how do you feel about Juju?
When the Chiefs' offense was at their best is when they had Sammy Watkins to pair with Tyreek Hill. And you could see it after Sammy Watkins left Kansas City that offense took a while to kind of get back to the offense they were. Juju Smith is going to come in and give that offense exactly what Sammy Watkins did, because the attention's still going to be on Kelsey, the attention's still going to be on Hill, and that's going to kind of allow Juju to kind of do his own thing.
Yep.
And he's already been a number 1 option in Pittsburgh, so for him to be a number 2 option, technically you could even argue that he's a number 3 option because Kelsey's really the number 1 option on that team.
Right.
I could easily see him having a 1,000-yard season in Kansas City because he's not a typical number 2. He would be a number 1 for a lot of teams. It's just that now you're going to a team that's got 2 1,000-yard receivers already, and now you're going to be the 3rd option, which if you're the 3rd option for any team, that's a toy that Patrick Mahomes is going to have fun with for a year.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
And if he has a good season, I could definitely see him signing again with the Chiefs, or like you mentioned, some other team could be like, oh, this guy's did really well. Let's see how much we can get him for a long-term deal. Because like I said, he's still super young. He's only in his mid-20s, so he's still got a lot of football left.
Yeah, and like I think Price was saying, the offense did need a little bit of a like the wide receiver. He's a good pickup, but yeah. I think the problems are a little bit more deeper on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm kind of curious to see how now that Denver picked up Wilson and Green, or the Raiders picked up Devontae Adams and stuff. And then you got the Chargers with the defensive side of the ball that they've upgraded on. I'm kind of curious to see if the defense with the Chiefs is going to be their Achilles heel because the division got stronger.
It will be, but I said this on the morning show all week. All 4 teams from this division will make the playoffs next year.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I think all 4 teams are going to be between 11-6 and 10-7 because they're just going to knock each other out every week. But even at that, they're still going to be better than a lot of the AFC. Yeah. So even if they go like 3-3, 2-4 in their own division, they could go 8-0 against the rest of the AFC because they're a lot better than a lot of those AFC teams.
Yeah, you got a good point. Also,
so basically, you'll have the division winner for all the divisions in that conference, but then all the wild cards are going to come out of the West.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It'll be fun to watch.
You had a similar situation like that this year because you had the
Raiders and
the Chargers had a chance to get in, and the Broncos only missed the playoffs by one game, and that was same thing with the NFC West too. The NFC West, a lot of people thought all 4 teams from that division were going to get in last year, and if Wilson didn't get hurt, all 4 teams probably do get in.
Yeah, you got a good point.
Man, I tell you, that West is just a sizzling division.
Hey Jay, before we move on to our next topic, we got some breaking news in the NBA.
Okay.
LeBron James is now second all-time in terms of the NBA's all-time scoring list, surpassing Karl Malone.
Wow.
And most all-time in NBA Finals losses.
Couldn't even let him have his moment.
Nope, I am not going to let him have his moment.
Passing Karl,
that guy's going to give you the stats, man. Hey, listen, it is.
He had a moment when he sat on a chair and said he was leaving Cleveland for South Beach and did it like a complete a-hole. That was his moment. He doesn't get another moment from me.
Hey, I agree. Hey, listen, you're not going to get no opposition here. I'm in total agreement with you. I guess Kareem, you're next on the list. Let's see if LeBron catches you. I hope he doesn't. I just hope it stays Kareem.
No, he's about 2,000 some odd points. I don't have an exact number. 2,000 some odd points away.
He'll catch him.
He's going to get it.
He averages about 2,000 points a year. He'll catch him.
He's gonna be number 1 all time scoring.
There we go. And we move on to the Mavericks GM accused of extortion. So you got Donnie Nelson, and I didn't see all of this. I know it was something about bad blood. Did you get? I didn't get to research this one just as much. Logan, did you get the actual background on what exactly was going on in this situation?
Yeah, so I'm pulling up the ESPN article here from where I found this. So, like I said, the Mavericks are accusing him of, this is a quote, a scheme to extort as much as $100 million. So that's a pretty penny there. In effect, a blackmail payment in exchange for his promise to not expose the sexual orientation of owner Mark Cuban's chief of staff or make other claims to embarrass teams. Let's not forget, Jay. I don't know if it was earlier this year, late last year. Remember the Mavs had that big scandal. They did. And I feel like Donnie Nelson probably saw this and said, hey, I can maybe try and make a buck off this or whatever. And that's kind of what's going on here. Let me see. All right, I'm just going to read a little bit of
part of that. What I read though, Logan, was supposedly Luton. I think it's his name, Luton. The top executive of the Mavs. I guess what they're alluding to is that he's gay and that he made an aggressive move on Donnie Nelson's nephew.
Yeah. So I found it here. So Jason Luton. I mean, this is a claim, right? Jason Luton had sexually harassed and sexually assaulted Nelson's nephew during a 2020 job interview. Nelson's lawsuit said his nephew, who was not identified, was invited to Luton's hotel room during the 2020 All-Star Weekend in Chicago and reached a settlement with the team. Nelson said he found out about the alleged incident and settlement only months later while he was starting contract negotiations with Mark Cuban. But that the talk stalled and eventually ended after he pressed the issue with Luton. Cuban then fired Nelson in June of 21. So I don't know what's going on here, Jay. It ain't looking good, though. The Mavericks have not had a very good year in terms of their office-wise.
The NBA hasn't had a good year in terms of the front office.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what strikes my fancy is Mark Cuban is an extremely good businessman.
He is.
Like, he's smart. Mark Cuban, when he puts his name on something, that stuff turns to gold. Like, he's just really that good. And for him to be so intelligent and so smart and so just charismatic in the way he does his business, it just surprises me that they're having all these troubles and why he didn't sniff this out and deal with it much sooner. You know what I mean?
He spends too much time on Shark Tank.
There you go.
Hey, that's nobody's saying that that's not true. Hey, maybe he needs to start, reining in the troops and start taking more inventory of what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah. Also, Jay, we have some hockey kind of breaking news happening within the last hour. Philadelphia Flyers have traded him just after he played his 1,000th career game for the Flyers to the Florida Panthers in exchange for
okay.
Connor Boone.
Yeah, that trade was done a week ago, But in respect to Giroux, they wanted him to play 1,000 with Philly first before they traded him.
There you go. He said this about bad year for Dallas sports. I mean, the Cowboys blew it. You know, your team, the Stars, ain't doing so hot.
Yeah, man. Hey,
you
listen,
have baseball to look forward to because the Rangers decided to unload a bank truck on free agency.
That's true. You have the Astros, who are they're still probably going to be contending. So at least you got baseball.
I think the Astros will be contenders. I think with the Astros losing Greinke and with the Astros losing Correa, that is going to wear down on them. I think that's going to be huge. That's another one I forgot to mention too, Jay. Zach Greinke went back to the Royals, which I didn't see coming. They'll probably retire. I mean, come on, he's late 30s now, I'm sure. Yeah, I think he's close to 40. Honestly, Logan, I think he's getting close to the 40.
Yeah, because he got drafted in 04 or something. It's been a while. Yeah, Zach Greinke is currently
38.
There you go. Yeah, so
he's closer to the 40. Hey, on the 30 side, he's closer to 40. So hey. And there's only a few pitchers that can go that far into it. Obviously, Verlander is one of them.
But the thing with
Ryan was one of them.
Yeah. The thing with Greinke, though, is he went 11-6 last year with an ERA at a 4.07. Yeah. And a lot of his starts came in Houston, which is a home run launching pad in a hitter's park.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to Kansas City now. That's not a hitter's park anymore.
No.
So he very easily can have probably another 13 or 14 win season with a low 3 ERA because he's not going to be in those home run hitter parks that the American League West has anymore. He's going to be in Detroit, Cleveland, White Sox, and then Kansas City. 4 of the 5 parks in the AL Central are not really home run hitter parks.
Yeah.
But does the Kansas City Royals, are they really a team that we are going to expect high things out of?
Yes, and yes.
Like how that guy says, yes, Jason. Absolutely.
Fly in that one.
Please, no. I only got a few seconds. But elaborate real fast why you think.
If you look at their AAA roster from last year, all of their top 4 prospects that were in AAA are going to be in the majors this year. All 4 of their top prospects combined for 153 home runs in AAA last year. They can hit the crap out of the baseball, and that's kind of the one thing that's been holding them back. They have guys like Brady Singer and all these pitchers that they've called up the last couple of years, but they didn't have the hitting to back it up. Now they finally got the hitting to back it up with guys like Bobby Witt and Mondesi and all these prospects that have been sitting in the minors the last couple of years. They're all coming up at the same time.
See what they can do.
All right, we're going to go real fast with this one, and then we're going to wrap it up with a couple of quick wrestling promos, and then we're going to get out of here. Start bench cut, Pippen, Melo, Kawhi. I got Pippen being cut because Pippen came, even though he had all those rings with Jordan, on the production side, he was only 16, 6, and 5.
All right.
Melo is at 22, 6, and 2, still playing. And Kawhi still playing is at 19.2, 6, and 2. So, honestly, I'm not going to go strictly by numbers because I do think Kawhi is better than Melo. I just believe that. And so, but I do think that Melo Melo and his production is better than Pippen's. So I'm going to cut Pippen. I'm going to bench Melo, and I'm going to start Kawhi.
Jay, you're about to start writing in our comment section. I swear to God.
Go
ahead, Stack. I'll let you go.
I will bench Kawhi Leonard because I don't trust his knees. I don't think he's going to be the same player that he was pre-knee injury, so I can't trust him anymore at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I would start Scottie Pippen because of his defense. Not because of his scoring, but because of how he can take a lot of the best players out of the game because of his defense. And I would have Melo come off the bench because he's actually kind of thriving in that role right now with the Lakers.
Okay. Logan, did you already go?
Yeah, so I'm going to start Scotty. I'm going to bench Kawhi, and I'm going to cut Melo. Only reason, like I said, Melo has the defense of a plastic bag, and the other 2 have rings. They're productive. And, when you talk about some of the best two-way players, you got to have Scotty, got to have Kawhi. You always got to bring them up in the conversation at least.
That's a good point, man. I didn't really take into consideration Pippen's defense. I mean, he was all defensive player for quite some time now on the defensive team. So
Damien's got Pippen.
You know what? I'm going to revise it. I'm going to revise it because I did not take Pippen's defense into consideration. And I'm glad you pointed that out, Logan. I stand corrected. I'm still going to start Kawhi. I'm going to bench Pippen, and I'm going to cut Melo. I'm going to cut Melo because I don't, like you said, his defense isn't quite where it's at.
So, Damien, I'm curious. Put in the comments real quick. Why would you want to bench Melo and cut Kawhi? I'm curious. Give me your thoughts, buddy.
Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, I sure as heck didn't take Scotty's
defense into consideration. He really is one of the best defensive
Hey,
players.
Jay, Anthony wants to know who comes up with these topics. Well, it's a smorgasbord, Anthony. We all come up with them. Me and Jay.
It's a
usually,
smorgasbord, man.
If we see something in a group, if we see something in our group chat, we'll throw it in here, which is where we found this.
I keep telling you guys, put topics in the group chat.
I was about to say also, Jay, our fans can put in the comments so what they want us to talk about. Make it more generalized stuff as opposed to current day, because Jesus, man. Every time we try to do current day stuff, Jay, it just goes by the wayside by our next show.
It just does, man. It does. We always have a hard time with that, man.
That's why we try to do more general stuff like this, but it is what it is. Let's keep it moving on. We got our classic segments here, Jay. We switched it
All
up.
right, man. Here we go, folks. This is where the rubber meets the road here, okay? This is where the rubber meets the road.
I made it easy on Jay. I listened to words today instead of matches, so.
I'm going to try to do my best Scott Hall, Razor Ramon impression.
Oh, I'm scared for this.
I don't have a toothpick. I don't have a toothpick to throw at the screen, so you're just gonna have to imagine me throwing a toothpick at the screen. You know who I am. You don't know why I'm here. Where's $1 billion Ted?
I hope Jay remembers.
That's so mad. I got a challenge for you. You want a war? Let's go to war. We're going to take the war to the ring, not the mics, not the escape lounges. We're going to take it to the ring. Let's do it where it matters. We're taking over. You got the challenge. That's what I took away from that.
Jay, I love that. Also, I pray someone is watching this and it's just screen recorded that whole thing so we can throw it up on Instagram or somewhere. That'd be fantastic.
Oh, I gotta do this. That was a toothpick.
Oh, there it is. All right,
It was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. Dustin, do you watch wrestling?
Not anymore since The Undertaker retired and since everybody else that I watched is no longer in wrestling anymore.
It is what it is. All right, let's see. We got some comments here real quick. Hold on, let me see.
Oh, Robert Wood. We missed about Robert Wood.
Yeah, he's signed with the Titans. Coming off ACL tear. Seal Terry. Damian said Kawhi is a load management guy, takes off whenever he wants to. That's why he's cutting him.
That's why I said I would cut him too, because I don't trust his knees.
He said, why does Jay sound like Dusty Rhodes?
Because Jay kind of looks like Dusty Rhodes a little
Honestly, yeah, a little bit. I feel like if Jay maybe dyed his hair blonde, he could see it a little bit. But yeah, this is kind of what kickstarted. This is one of the bigger names coming over from the WWF to WCW, Jay. And you saw they were having some random match with two guys I've never heard of before, and then everyone's like, "Who's that coming through the crowd?" And it's like, "Oh, that's Scott Hall." It's like, "What's he doing here?" And like you said, he showed up, toothpick and all, calling out Ted Turner, calling out Gene Oakland, all those guys. And then he's like, "You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here." And it's like, "Oh, what's coming on here?" And so then we learned we didn't have it in this show, but we learned a couple of weeks later. We see Kevin Nash come over, which then they start the Outsiders, right? And then Jay, we move on to our next promo, which is where the NWO is officially formed at Bash at the Beach 96. And they were talking about, oh, we got a third man, Jay. We have the third man. No one knew who it was. And then you see it. I want to get your thoughts on this about the Hulkster, Hulk Hogan, ruining and crushing every child's dreams and becoming a bad guy for the first time in his career.
Yeah, man.
On a major stage. This
whole promo just wrecked everything that I ever knew about Hulk Hogan, man. Hulk Hogan was supposed to be the good guy, fighting for all the things that are good. And this, you just saw him going from being the good guy to being the bad guy, all in a one foul swoop. Hulk Hogan betrayed the WCW.
The Macho Man. He hit the leg drop on Randy Savage.
Yep.
His brother. Also, Anthony Cody Rhodes, not Dusty.
Huh?
Also, he put Dusty Rhodes finally signed with WWE WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes. Dusty is long gone, my friend.
He probably didn't realize it's Cody Rhodes. Yeah. But no, so Hulk Hogan, Mean Gene basically was saying that Hulk Hogan betrayed the WCW, and that Mean Gene was basically saying that how can he do this? You're going to regret making this decision, so forth. And then of course Hulk Hogan joins Nash and Hall and forms the NWO, and obviously you were wondering who the third man was, and of course Hulk Hogan comes out. Does the leg drop on Randy Macho Man, and of course then says, now you know who the third man basically is of the NWO.
And also, Jay, you see all that trash in the ring the fans threw?
Yeah, everybody was throwing trash at him.
Everyone was just so upset that they just started throwing beers and pretzels and everything out. It was. It's one of the most iconic scenes in wrestling history.
As a matter of fact, even Mean Gene pointed it out. Look what the fans think of you now, basically.
Right. He's like, I think this is a representation of what you are now, or something like that. The thing about it was, and Hulk Hogan basically his premise is that he felt like Billionaire Ted promised him more movies, better caliber matches, all this stuff,
more money, all these accolades Ted was offering to Hogan, and none of it ever came true. And Hogan basically said, "I've had enough. Screw you, Billionaire Ted. I'm doing my own thing now."
And then after a little bit after this, we see the first iteration of Hollywood Hulk Hogan, where he rocks the black and white gear, the iconic red and yellow, Jay. So it is what it is. But yeah, that's all of our wrestling segments. This was Scott Hall Razor Ramon Appreciation Week. In lieu of his passing this past week, man, it's been fun going through all these segments, all these matches, just seeing a little bit of what he's done. Still gone way too soon, man. He's, I think, 63. But hopefully we're here to shine some light on his career and just how influential he is. But we'll get back to some regular matches and whatnot this upcoming Tuesday. But Stat Guy, you sit in our private chat. There is some news out of the MLS. What do you have?
So within the next 2 weeks, Commissioner Don Garber is going to announce the 30th MLS franchise.
Oh, okay.
It was announced 2 years ago, but then Sacramento pulled their name out of the expansion talks because of COVID. And it looks like Las Vegas will be named the 30th team.
Well, and Vegas is getting all these sports teams now. They really are. I mean,
exactly. No, hey, and you know what the thing about it is Vegas has been a hotbed for years. It's just they never went there.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, man. Where's all the money? The money is in Atlantic City. The money is in Vegas. The money is in Miami, LA, New York. I mean, these are hotbeds for money makers.
You know why they never went to Vegas, though?
Gambling.
They should have gone to Vegas a long time ago. That was a long time coming.
They assume that gambling is the worst thing ever created. I mean,
now that sports betting is allowed, they have no problem going to Vegas because they know it's going to bring.
Yeah, that's why we've seen
every quarter they do a DraftKings commercial.
Since the Golden Knights were in 17, 18 one
2017, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the first major team, if I'm not mistaken. Then they just kept flowing in. I mean, it's a money pit. I would love to see the revenue they rake in each year. That's why they're having the draft in this year, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, man. Hey, of course, there's going to be a lot more college basketball tonight, so you guys make sure y'all tune in for that, man, because I'm telling you, man, hey, listen, we got a long night still left of March Madness to contend with, and I kind of wonder how much more a Stat Guy's bracket will get busted or how much more he will look like a damn genius, as he always does.
One of the others is going to happen regardless. We don't know which one yet.
As long as Murray State wins, my bracket's sitting pretty good.
There you go.
Because that whole side, I have one game wrong on that side, and that was St. Peter's.
I think a lot of people had that St. Peter's game wrong. I don't think people thought Kentucky was going to – I mean, if they're going to lose, they weren't going to lose to St. Peter's.
Who picked St. Peter's? I swear if anyone
117 people picked St. Peter's because that's all the perfect brackets that are left as of this morning.
And I'm sure, who knows, I'm sure after Baylor went down, I'm sure that was a good amount of them too. So we'll see.
Well, all right, folks. Hey, as always, if you get Stat Guy on your show, you're going to have a hell of a good show. Stat Guy, we appreciate you coming on, man. As always.
Well, I told you I'm going to try to be on more often now that I'm switching to nights.
That's right. Don't worry, I'm going to stalk you like a felony stalker, man. Don't worry, you'll be on the show. I ain't worried about that.
Hey, Jay, before we head out, speaking of St. Peter's real quick, just a real quick update on the game. Minute 37 left in the first half. St. Peter's is up on Murray State 30-27.
Jeez Louise, man. And right now we got
Welcome to
9:50. We have about 9:50 left to go in the UCLA St. Mary's, and UCLA is 55-47 over St. Mary's. So, yeah, man, that's kind of where we are. And don't forget, I believe you got the Gonzaga game this evening. I believe Providence plays tonight as well.
Yeah, I think Providence is the next one up, and Gonzaga's last.
Yeah, so we still got some good games left to go through. And we will see you guys on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. And it is your boy, Jay McLovin, along with my sidekick, my trusty bestie, Logan Landers, who always takes care of me and fixes me up. And as always, the expert residential person that if you get him on your show, you done struck gold in $1 million stat guy. And we love him all to death. But all right, until next time, it's your boy Jay, man. We will see you on Tuesday. I hope your brackets do much better than mine have done so far. Until next time, we out of here. Peace out.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all.
So how's everyone doing tonight?
Whole sports all plays.
My computer is so slow, man.
Hold on, hit it again, buddy.
Whole sports
Yeah, I
all
hit like $1 million
plays.
times.
Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same.